everyone, and welcome to this week's podcast. Hi, Denny.
Hi, Fee. Hi, everyone.
So we're currently transitioning through the second week of September, and this is week 36 of a 2021 year. So this week is a 9-week in numerology. So 36 is a 36-9 week. So in fact, the 3, 6, and 9 energies that we're influenced by this week are really highly creative energies that also represent themes around compassion, idealism, and tolerance. 3, 6, 9 energy is actually a very powerful energy to work with. And one of the most influential scientists, actually, that we've ever had is a guy called Nikola Tesla. I might not have pronounced his name properly, but and he was credited with saying that if only you would know the significance of 3, 6, and 9, you would have the key to the universe. So it's a pretty big claim, but these numbers therefore are very powerful. These numbers show up everywhere in nature, and they hold kind of the qualities of repetition, pattern, consistency, continuation. They're very solid influences that speak to, I guess, building foundations and creating security. They're very optimistic numbers that guide you towards the root number of 9, which represents compassion and humanitarianism. So that is the foundation, really, of the energy of this week. So the 9 energy is the strongest influence, but you are also supported with the energy of creative self-expression and inspiration from the 3 that we're working with, and then also family and healing and the nurturing energies of the 6 influences. So there is a lot that comes with the 36-9 numbers of this week. So with this energy, you're likely to notice that you feel maybe more guided to reach out and help other people. There may be one particular individual that you're drawn to helping, or you may seek out ways to connect with, I guess, organizations that are really working hard to bring good into the world. This is all about the big picture and how we show up in the world and how we're taking action in the world to heal the planet, to work with the planet, to work with each other. So 9 brings you really into the global consciousness and awareness of others. It guides you into the perception that there is no real significant value difference between yourself and others. And it also, I feel, amplifies the energy of non-judgment over different lifestyle choices or religious beliefs or societal expectations, political practices, or even different cultures. So in a time where, we're sitting in this time at the moment where there is so much conflict and separation being created around us, this energy, I think, works really hard to bring us all back together. And I feel like that's much needed at the moment. I also want to bring a little bit of focus this week to Thursday, because Thursday is the 9th of September. And it is, of course, the 9th day of the 9th month. So this energy is somewhat amplified on that day. So on Thursday, you may feel or you may be influenced by the energy of the day itself, that energy that comes in, or the energy of the month itself, being a 9-month. But when the day and the month also add up to the same number, which they do in this case, that creates a surge of those influences on that day as well. So there's a lot going on that day that focuses this 9 energy that we're sitting in. And then just to add a little bit more power to that energy, Thursday, the 9th of September, is the 252nd day of the year, which also adds up to 9. So this 9 energy is really big on that day. This will be a day when you may feel a lot, particularly in relationship to what is happening in the world. And it may take your awareness away from yourself as you tune in more, I guess, into the energies of the collective. So be prepared for that, because that can feel sometimes a little bit overwhelming, particularly when there is so much shifting in the collective as there is at the moment. So you may find that that day triggers you emotionally. But if you are triggered, remember that that's an invitation to dive deeper into the trigger, to find out what is rising and what you're being asked to look at within yourself. This day is really an opportunity for us all to consider what we would like to change in the world, how we can make a difference. What action can we take to shift something collectively to make the world a better place? Anything that triggers you on that day is guiding you towards something that you can do and something that you can act on. So it's a big day, a big week. These are big numbers, and you know, they bring in big energies, but it's all really beautiful, strong, powerful energy that's connecting us more with each other and looking at our home, our planet, and what we can do around that. So for me, those are the main influences this week through the numerology. And then I was really excited because I always say, Denny, you're the the best card puller. You always pull these really appropriate cards at the right time for everything, and I never really give myself the credit for that. But today I pulled this one, and I know you probably can't see that, but it is the 9 of Earth. So I was very excited because I pulled the 9 card, and I felt that that was really appropriate for this energy that we're sitting in this week. I feel that that card really signifies that we are on a conscious journey to heal the earth. It speaks to abundance and wealth and lush lands. And that feels so aligned to the energies of the week and where we are being drawn to focus on now. We are, after all, in co-creation with the earth. There is no separation. So when we heal, she heals. Humanity heals, and then there is abundance for all of us. So that's what I really felt that this card was showing us this week. These are big topics, of course, and we are in a time of big change. So I see that this card is really a representation of what we can create if we stay on track, if we focus on what is really important. And of course, we treat each other with, and the earth, of course, with love and respect. So that was my card. And of course, it's my favorite color. So that's always going to be a good plus for me. And then I also sat in my happy place in the Akashic Records this morning for a little while, reflecting on the energies of this week, and ask the question, what is the most powerful message? This is not usually the question that I ask, but what is the most powerful message that the Akasha can offer our listeners this week? And this is what I received. So it was, think of humanity in relationship to yourself. There are many different aspects to self that are reflected within the collective. Some parts are conscious and awakening and are on a path guided by love. Some parts are wounded and are healing through the pain that these woundings have created. Some parts are scared, and through their fears, they make choices and decisions that are not truly aligned to who they are. These are all parts of self that are reflected in the whole. We are one in the same way that you are asked to love and accept all parts of self. You are also asked to love and accept all parts of each other. You cannot create deep connection within the collective without acceptance and love for it all. So beautiful message there for us and for our listeners this week.
Thanks, Fee. As someone who has the personal number of 9, I'm really interested. I hadn't come into my awareness about the 9th of the 9th yet. So that's next Thursday. And as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, okay, what have I got? Because I know there's something on the 9th. And I realize that it's actually my appointment for my second dose of vaccination, which is not something that we really talk about on this podcast specifically, except that, we both kind of sit in a similar place with that, and this place of, I've never had any kind of flu vax, and I kind of felt a bit, I don't know, odd about getting this one, but I did, and I had it in my mind that I was doing it for the collective, not for myself. So when you say all of those and it goes down to that 9th and it's about that collective number, it really resonated with a nice place for me, and making peace with that in some way, shape or form. I'm kind of interested because what I'm speaking about today is a slightly different track than yours, but as always, I know that there's these beautiful crossing moments. So I'm interested to see how that works. I'm going to start with the energy of Tuesday, which is the new moon. We have a new moon in Virgo, and it's quite a powerful new moon because there's lots of different aspects that are happening at the same time. And in the same way that the first week in September seemed like this beautiful respite from what we've been going through, there was a lot of trines and a lot of beautiful energy. Almost felt like a little bit of a holiday from a lot of the heavy energies we've been sitting in. The new moon feels like that as well, that there's this gorgeous trines happening around that time and around the new moon in Virgo, and it's going to feel like a little bit of a break from what's then going to turn into another week of challenges. It's like we're going to get a little glimpse in this first week of September, and the new moon is like a little bit of a glimpse of the way it can be. A little bit of a vision into a different way of being and a different future that we have right there if we can do the work, which is what I think that we're going to be thrown back into this week. Is right, this is you're given this little bit of a break to see what can be possible, and then we're going to go back into the work of actually making it happen. That's how it kind of feels. There is a lot going on astrologically. And I often talk to the planets and the sun and the moon. And other than Venus and the moon, there's the rest of the planets up there. It's been pointed out to me this week, but I knew it, but it's they're all masculine. And so a lot of the influences that I talk about are masculine. And yet when I started my journey into astrology, I started with the goddesses, which are the asteroids, which are, they weren't discovered till a lot later. And that's a large collective feminine sitting right there. And a lot of my work in astrology has been about embodying the goddesses that sit up in the sky. And that's what started my interest in astrology. And they are really shouting at me right now, because as I look at the chart for this week, and probably not just this week, but this week it's come to my awareness, everywhere I look, there are aspects, squares and oppositions and things that have been opposed, and lots of stuff for us to look at and dive into and really tackle. Everywhere I look in astrology right now, there's a goddess sitting right there. On every single aspect I can see, there's this beautiful goddess sitting in the background or in the foreground, whichever way you look at it. But the support of the feminine and the deep wisdom of the feminine is right there underneath everything right now, which is just feels so supportive helpful, and suggests where I went with my card this week. And my card that I chose was the Mentor. There's your beautiful power animal there, Fee.
Yes.
The owl. And I guess it's this idea, I mean, not just idea, I think we've really got help and wisdom sitting, and I'm going to say out there, but I also then want to bring it back to our everyday lives and speak to the help that you may have around you in the form of wisdom keepers and in the form of the feminine, and sisters and support. So I think that if we just widen our perspective from where we're sitting in our bubbles that we're sitting in, and look to the support that we have around us, in the sisterhood and in the feminine and in our mothers and in our grandmothers, and to the wider community, to the collective feminine. I think there's an enormous amount of support sitting there for the times that we're moving through. We're really supported by the collective feminine right now. And I know that gives me lots of feelings of support for what could be otherwise really, really challenging times right now. And I could speak to all of the different aspects that are going on. Actually, what I think is more interesting is for me just to kind of demonstrate where the goddesses are sitting. So if I look right now at the sun, sitting right on the sun is Hygeia, kind of like a healing goddess, but like magical healing. And not too far off is Medusa. So she's the goddess of masks, but maybe stripping off the masks. She's a dark goddess. And sitting right alongside the sun is Mars. So you've got these two masculine forces in the sky with these two beautiful feminine forces sitting right there alongside. Venus has got a lot going on. There's a lot of aspecting with Venus, and Venus is kind of like this known feminine. So in a way, she's kind of there at the forefront. That's how I see her. And behind her, she's got her team sitting all around the rest of the zodiac, helping her out with the aspects that are challenging from the masculine to Venus. But alongside Venus is Vesta. Vesta is sitting right there, and Vesta is the goddess of home and hearth. And we're sitting in the sign. A lot of what's going on right now is Virgo. We have a new moon in Virgo, and Virgo is about our body, our home, health, and service, how we serve. For me, it really feels like a time to look at how you're treating your body, your vessel, and imagining a new way. I know I've just been really drawn this month to be very health conscious and to exercise more and to be more conscious with what I'm putting into my body, and also my practices. So this week might be a good time to look at that, especially with this new moon in Virgo and us looking to looking forward at a new way. Well, perhaps that's also how we treat ourselves and how we show up and our practices. And as you said, Fee, that kind of consistency of showing up. We then have Saturn sitting right on Saturn, which is masculine. The structures is Kali, and Kali's been sitting there with him for quite a while. The dark goddess, the goddess of truth. The North Node, our Dharma, has Black Moon, Lilith, sitting right there. We have Pluto in the sky, and Pluto is Hades, or the god of the underworld. And squaring Pluto, as I spoke about last week, is Eris, the goddess of discord, but right on Eris is Hecate. So you've just got these, then the South Node's just had Juno, the goddess of marriage, pass through. On Neptune, we have Neptune sitting there, and Pallas is right there with Neptune. So it's like wherever you turn to the masculine in the skies, there's feminine there. And that's really supportive, but it's also suggesting a lot of depth, a lot of needing to pass through different ways of being. The two masculine archetypes in the sky that don't have anybody sitting on them from the feminine is Jupiter and Uranus. And Jupiter expands. There's this beautiful opening energy with Jupiter. He's like a new patriarchy in a way. That's how I like to look at him, as the new positive way forward. And Uranus is the god of change and disruption. And so I think it's all pointing to these being a little bit freer, because that is the new way of how it will be if we move forward. But we do need to look at how we can do things differently. So right now at this week, it feels like we're standing, we're sitting, standing, we're at a crossroads, and the crossroads, we can choose different directions to go in. And these are directions that are going to leave the collective in different ways. So where are the crossroads in your life? Where are you finding that you're standing and seeing two ways that you could go? And can you make the difficult decision to go away that maybe feels less familiar and more challenging? I think these times call for us to be challenged and to walk a new road. That's it for this week from me.
I love, and I know on the surface it maybe looks like we're working differently this week, but I feel like there's so much synchronicity around it, particularly this connection with the collective and the feminine within the collective, and how you and I have been feeling this a lot recently around this need to reweave our connections with women again. You know, it's like going even deeper now. And you know, it's why we've created the Other World Collective, is a place for us to do that online, because we're so limited at the moment as to how we can meet up with each other and have those conversations with each other. So, you know, I'm really feeling that support with the feminine that's coming in this week for all of us. And I guess that is sort of I wasn't going to say trigger, so it always feels like a negative thing, but it's kind of creating a desire for that connection with each other. It's deepening our need, because as women we're meant to, you know, in part of us is to sit with each other and have conversations, and that's how we're innately designed to learn, to teach, to share, to grow, to heal. And so, you know, I love that energy that's definitely coming in this week.
Yes, and it is so perfectly in time for our circle tomorrow night, Fee. And I'd love to invite anybody that's listening that hasn't signed up for our collective group that's going to meet on Zoom on the 7th. At 7 p.m. Sydney time. If you want to, I think we'll try and put the links wherever we share this podcast, but everyone's welcome, and it does feel like a beautiful time to get support from the feminine. It's no longer time to do things on your own. You don't need to feel isolated, even if we're physically a little bit isolated from each other. There is still support online, and I personally get so much out of my tribe of women, and I want that for everyone, to be able to find that soft place to land. So please reach out if you're interested in our collective, the Other World Collective.
Yes, absolutely. And also it's worth mentioning, I think, that if you can't make the call, you can still sign up. If you can't make this particular call, you can still sign up. You may be able to make some of the other ones in the future. But I think We might be recording them. I'm guessing we might record them. We haven't spoken about that, but we may be recording them so we can send them out anyway. We'll see.
Well, definitely, because the collective is not just going to be the calls. There's also going to be practices that Fee and I will offer in the month with the theme, and so definitely, I think we'll record it for the group. However, we share that by email or in a group that we set up. But yes, there will be other things other than just meeting in circle. There's also things that will be supportive, more about the energies that we're sitting in, and different offerings that Fee and I will put into the collective.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that you will join us there, and if we don't see you there, have a lovely week, and we look forward to seeing you next week.